Hello, my name is Jackson Kilgore,
And I'm Jacob Kane.
and this is the NextUp Leaders Podcast.
Today, our guest is the head football coach at our school, Cordova High School, Mr. Coach Maynor.
My name's Jackson Kilgore,
I'm Jacob Kane.
and this is the
NextUp
NextUp Leaders
Leaders
Podcast. So, Coach, we wanted to start off with asking you this. What's something that not many people will know, like you do, like what are your hobbies outside of football?
I like to go kayaking.
Really?
Yes.
What's the best part of coaching high school football?
The relationships that you build with the players and the coaches. It's similar to you're on a team. I've always been on a team, and I love that part of it. Just building the relationship with the kids, the coaches, and everybody that's involved in the program. I love just the coaching on the field. I've been doing it for so long. Been doing it for like over 35 years. But those are the things I like. I like being on the grass with the field. I love being in the weight room and building those relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And I love to see the kids develop, go from here to the next level.
Yeah.
So, Coach, how was your own high school football experience, and how did it make you want to like pursue coaching?
I had a great experience. I played at Austin High School in Decatur. I played for a great man, Tom Calvin, and he was a great player at University of Alabama back in the 50s. He was an older guy when he came into our school, and he worked us hard, treated us right, and then the other coaches were really good mentors. Billy Miles, Phil Cavanaugh. There's a bunch of them that just they worked with you, they cared about you, they pushed you, and you didn't want to let them down. But as far as playing, I love the game. Football's not a verbal debate; it's a game of collisions, and I love that part of it. But we were able to be successful. I had some really good teammates, some really great players, and we were able to compete for a state championship. But as far as the actual the experience, was just outstanding.
What do you like to help players improve on? It doesn't have to be like about football, like just in life in general.
Well, I think football teaches life lessons. Sooner or later you're going to face some struggles, and you're going to have to work through those. You get knocked down, you get back up. But I really love seeing the guys improve as far as just their mental and physical aspects of how they grow into a young man. And I think football is a great way or athletics is a great avenue for that.
Mm-hmm.
So, Coach, if you could go back to, say you was our age, 16 and 17, what would you tell yourself back then?
Well, I always think that, you do the best that you can do. All right. Show up early and form a great work habits and work ethic, and take advantage of all the things that the older people, the adults, your mentors are trying to get you to do and try to help you to do. Nobody's going to be successful by themselves. It's always going to take somebody else to help you along the way. But make sure that you're listening to people that have your best interest at heart.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the work ethic part of it is, and showing up is 90% of it. You got to show up. You got to be available, because availability is your most important ability.
Yeah. So, what do you think is more important that you teach kids, like teaching like the technical like football skills or building career or
I think
like
it's building character.
building character and
Yes.
teamwork?
I think building character, building a work ethic, setting goals and trying to reach those goals. I think that's just building young men. I think that's the most important. But when my players come back from 20 years, I haven't seen some of them in 20 years. I want to know how they're doing as far as their family, their career, and things like that. I think that's when you know when they're successful 20 years down the road if you've had an impact on their life.
Yeah.
So you already mentioned about hard work ethic, all that. So like, what do you think is the most important lesson that your players walk away with?
Well, I think it's our core values. Okay, trust. Okay, accountability and commitment. I think if you can do those things in life, you're gonna have to earn people's trust, and you're gonna have to trust people, and then you're gonna have to be accountable for your actions, and you got to own up to that, and then you got to be committed to whatever you're doing.
So how do you keep like the players motivated after like a tough season or a big loss?
Well, you take it one at a time, and I've been there before. It's tough. It's tough on them. It's tough on the coaches. It's tough on their coaches' families. It's tough on the players' families. But you keep on finding the wins, the little wins. Maybe they improved in a certain area, and you just keep on preaching those things like that. Hey, we got better at this. Hey, we didn't win the game, but we got better at this. Whatever that might be.
Yeah.
So like, what do you do to help to improve your athletes? Like what stuff do you do like during the off season?
One thing is we have a tremendous weight program, strength conditioning. I think that's where your program is built, is in the weight room, and the lifts and the things that you do, and them getting to push each other. They can work on their individual getting better, and if the individual is getting better, the team is getting better. But we try to push them very hard in every aspect. We just don't look at strength. We look at the total pie, and we slice it. Strength, agility, speed, flexibility, all the things it takes to be a good athlete. And we just don't have a football weightlifting workouts. It's a general preparedness workout that's good for all athletes.
So what makes like a good captain on your team, and like how do you pick that person?
Well, I think first of all, they got to be a leader. They got to be a leader, and a leader develops a loyalty there, and they're always the one that goes the extra mile. They're the ones that you can count on. The team counts on that's going to step up. Those are the type people that were captain type people. As far as those things, they have that ability to lead.
Yeah.
It's like, Coach, how do you prepare for like big games? Do you have like a specific routine or strategy to get the team ready physically and mentally?
Well, as far as that, we always prepare to play 15 games. That's how I look at it. We're preparing to play 15 games. And as far as big games, I think you treat them all the same. Every game is big. Every game is big. We'll meet as coaches on Sunday, get our game plan together, and then try to implement it each day of the week. But I don't treat a big game any different. All games are big. So just continue to work. I don't think you change anything really that you do. I think the players like a routine. They want to know what's coming. So that's how we approach it. I mean, when we play a state championship, we did the same things every day.
So, what's your approach to in-game adjustments and like if things aren't going this plan, like how do you keep your cool and push through that?
Well, I think you got to concentrate on the task at hand.
Mhm.
And find out where you're not being successful, and then you have to make adjustments from there. But some of that is on the players too, by making their calls, letting us know what's going on, what they're seeing. If we ask them, hey, if I ask Jack, hey, where's that tackle lined up? I can't really tell. Well, he tells me where he's lined up. Is it 4I, 4, 5, whatever. So then we can know how to attack certain defense.
Yeah, I would like to say something. No matter if we was down by 60 or up by 60, he never stopped coaching. Anyways, what's like the toughest challenge you faced as a coach, and how did you overcome it?
That's a good one. I think when you take a job and things aren't going as you planned, and then you have to make adjustments with that, and sometimes you have to learn how to do that. Sometimes it takes you a little time, and I'm the type of person that I want things fixed immediately, and some things it takes longer than what you think it's going to take, and I think sometimes getting everybody going in the same direction, focused on where we got to go, because you got different people, you got people with different agendas, maybe, and but I think you have to you have to sell your vision, and sometimes that can be a little bit tough. So I think that's the main thing is get people going all in the same direction, and with that one goal in mind.
Well, you said something about this earlier, but what's the most rewarding part of coaching high school football for you, especially when you see your players, like you said, like 20 years after graduation and stuff like that?
Repeat that.
What's the most rewarding part of coaching high school football for you, especially like seeing your players' years after their graduation?
Well, I think if I made a difference in their life, I think if somehow I made a difference in their life and helped them become successful, taught them some values that they carry on, and that really means something to them. And I've had a lot of players, and every day I see somebody that I coached around here, or I might go to the grocery store where I live and see an ex-player, and so it's really good to see those guys and to see what they've become.
Yeah. It's like, how do you deal with like the stress when the team isn't doing good?
Probably not very well. I just continue to focus on what's got to get done. I think that's part of it. I think that's part of being a leader. You focus on things that's got to get done and go get them done. And I think that's how you deal with it, because you got to control the things that you can control, and don't worry about the things that you can't control.
Yeah.
And I think you control your attitude, you control your work ethic, and how you go about things.
Mm-hmm. So, is there a specific moment or game that you would say was like a turning point in your coaching career, and like what made it so memorable?
There's been a lot. A lot. I've coached in a lot of ball games. There was state championship played out there on that field, and that was really huge. That was big. There's been a lot of plays and a lot of players that have been involved in that. So that was probably one of the biggest ones as far as my career, is being a part of that and watching those players grow. Because really, I don't think people thought we were going to be very good that year, and we started off a little bit slow, lost the first ball game, and then each game, they got better. But the thing about it is, we also we're having kids or players get hurt. With some games, we'd have a kid miss 2 or 3 games. Well, another young player had to come in and develop. So we started developing depth, and we just kept getting better and better and better. And that was very rewarding, seeing those guys step up that weren't supposed to be major contributors, but they did, and they kept that winning going till the other guys got back. And it's really rewarding as far as seeing their development.
So, Coach, I know you came from Spain Park, and that's a whole lot bigger school than this is. Like, what would you say, like, the biggest difference is?
Well, I've coached at the college level, and I've coached at the big high school level, and I've coached at the small school level. As far as the difference, just the number of players that you deal with on a daily basis. That's really the biggest difference. You could probably, the number of coaches that you have. When I was at Spain Park, it was usually, say for instance, if there was DBs, if you're coaching defensive backs, usually there's a safety coach and a corner coach. Or it might be 2 offensive line coaches. Then one might coach tackles, one might coach the center and guards, things like that. It might be an outside receiver coach and an inside receiver coach. So it's different as far as the number of coaches and the number of players. But the intensity is the same. And the teaching the fundamentals and the techniques are the same.
So you played at the college level, didn't you?
Yes.
Did you? I've heard some stuff, but you got hurt, didn't you?
Yeah. That was one of my goals. I wanted to play at the college level. Either I was going to join the Marines or go work at a plant or go play football. And and like anything else, you always set goals.
Yeah.
And one of my goals was I've got to get on special teams somehow. I got to get on that 53 man roster somehow because everybody didn't dress or everybody didn't get to play. And I got hurt my first ball game. Going down on the second kickoff, I was a freshman. Like I said, it was the first ball game. I'd been a little bit nicked up and probably shouldn't have played, but I wanted to be able to play my first ball game. And had a pretty severe injury, hurt my neck, lost a lot. I was temporarily paralyzed, the sides, right there on the side of my body. And I couldn't even squeeze a foam ball or anything. And came back. I got a medical red shirt, came back the next spring, and they said, hey, we'll let you come back. And so I went back through spring, got hurt again. And then they said, no more football. I said, can you give me 1 year? And so, Jack, the neck harnesses?
Yes, sir.
That's what I had one in my room. And I would work the neck harness every night, plus other things they were having me do, and made it back through. They said, okay, they released me to try it one more time. So I went out the spring, finished the spring, had a good spring. And so, but I was still kind of feeling some of the effects. But the next fall, we were going through preseason camp, got hurt again. They said, that's it. So, and that's when I got started in the coaches. Coaches asked me to coach, and it was the closest thing to play.
Yeah.
So
would you say coaching's the thing that got you through not being able to play?
Yes, because I was very depressed. Take something away that you love to do, and then get that taken away, and you don't really know what you want to do. Because I hate to say this, but football, I went to school to play football, really. Yeah. And that's not the way it's supposed to be, but it happened. I could get an education too, so.
So, Coach, you said you played in college. I was just wondering, like, what were your, max? What were your maxes in college, like your max bench, squat, deadlift?
We benched on. Now my bench wasn't as good because my injury, but I think I did. And we did 5 rep maxes and 3 rep maxes. We didn't go to a 1 rep max, but I think I did 265 for 5. At I think I weighed 172 pounds, and I think I did 425 for 5 on squats, and I think it was 365 for 3 on power clean. 265. I think that's what it was.
How many dips could you do in a row?
I think when I was a freshman, when we came in as freshmen, they didn't max us on weights. We had they called it a fun run, and it was like you ran for 30 minutes, and they maxed you on dips and sit-ups. Well, anyway, I would wait to be the last one on those because I'd find out who had the most. I'd want to find out who had the most. I'd always be the last one so I could try to break it. And I think I did 63 in a row.
That's what I do when we can do it. So, do you know your 40 time?
I think I was a 4.65, 4.7, something like that.
What position did you play in high school?
I played free safety, some corner, strong safety, and linebacker, and played a little bit of quarterback. We just went one side of the ball. It was a 4A school, which that was the highest classification, and so most of us just played one way. And there was a couple of guys that would play both ways, but not the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So it just depended on what they wanted to do that week defensively. Sometimes, but I was a defensive back.
So we know you coached here how many years ago?
Started here. I came here in
85?
No, I graduated in 85.
Oh, wait.
I came here in 93. I came here in 93. And it was July of 93, about 3 or 4 weeks before we started practice.
Mm-hmm.
You're Jack, you trying to say I'm old?
So, what's the difference between how it was then and how it is now?
It's well, the facilities have definitely changed.
Yeah.
That's one thing. We had the facilities weren't near as nice as they are now. There wasn't no indoor. We had a field house, but it wasn't near as big as what we have now. So, as far as, is that kind of what you're talking about as far as facilities or
like how
players?
like things have changed.
Yeah,
just in general.
It's changed a good bit. As far as the school is bigger, or it might be just because of the classifications. But as far as that field, the field hadn't changed.
No.
And that was always really special playing that hole. But as far as the game of football, it hasn't changed that much. You still got to block and tackle and do the basic fundamentals to win.
I've been wondering this. You have a bunch of sayings. Like, where did you get those from?
Well, Jack, when you've been around as long as I've been, you hear things from other people, and then they just might come to the top of my head. I've been around. I've had some good mentors, that I coached with that when I started coaching. So, and you just pick up on things, from what maybe they say. So,
Who would you say your biggest mentor was though?
Good question. I could name a bunch. Coach McCorkle coached here, and he coached me in college. Coach Davis, Steve Davis, he coached me in college. He coached around. Coach Calvin, my high school coach. Willie Slater, we coached together. He's won about 6 national championships. He was at UNA. Let's see who else. But those people have really been a big influence, and they give you opportunities,
Mhm.
and then you can learn so much from them because they were such good men, good coaches, and knew the game of football. But it's more to coaching than just the X's and O's. It's organization skills. You got to have those. And when it comes to organization, you got to be able to plan. Okay, you got to be able to plan a year out. You got to be able to plan an off season. Okay, which is right now. You got to be able to plan spring and throughout the summer. So you got to have some organizational skills. You got to have, and then you learn. They can mentor you in how do you fundraise, how do you budget, how do you and that could come down to ordering equipment. Helmets, shoulder pads, because that's the one thing that I always want to make sure that our players are well taken care of, as far as the equipment that we put on them, as far as their shoulder pads and helmets. We're going to buy them the best that we can afford, and make sure that they're suited right. And we're going to try to give them the best things that we can afford as far as the weight room, whatever we do. We'll try to make sure that they're taken care of. But those are some things that you can learn from your mentors. Because if a young man gets hurt because he's got bad equipment and he's one of your best players, you're not as good a coach if that young man's on the sideline because he's hurt. So we want to make sure, and those are some things that I've learned from mentors.
So, Coach, I use at Spain Park, them colleges, and very big, nice high schools. What made you want to come back to Cordova?
Jack, I wanted to make sure that I wanted to come back to help. That's really what I wanted to do. I wanted to come back and try to help the program. That was my main objective, is try to get the program back. It's such a, and y'all might not realize this is a great tradition. This school has a great tradition, just football, but just athletics. And I wanted to come back and help kind of get that restored and get that back going. But I can't do that alone. Everybody, when you do something, when you take on a job, you've got to have help. And but that was the main thing. So I wanted to show appreciation that I care about this place, care about the students, the town, the school. So that's the main reason, because I wasn't for sure if I was going to retire. I wasn't going to really retire from coaching. I mean, I'll coach. I feel like I got a lot of energy to still keep coaching, and I love to do it. But maybe I was going to retire and maybe not teach, but just kind of coach.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I wanted to do, because I couldn't sit at the house. Couldn't sit at the house. I'm not built that way.
So, you said how you've coached at about every level, and would you say your coaching style has to change, like when you go to different levels like that?
No, I coach the same way I do in college that I do here. I mean, I still try to, because coaching is teaching.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna try to give that consistency every day. That I'm gonna give my players the best that I've got, because I owe them that.
Yeah.
They, if they show up, they want to be coached, and so that's what I want to do. So I coach the same at Livingston or UT Martin. I coach now. I'm still just as intense. I don't know, Jack. What do you think?
A lot of energy.
So I think you have to bring that, because, I have to carry the torch.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not going to do it, I can't expect those players to do it.
Yeah.
So I have to be the example and try to be the example as well as I can be to get them to do the things they need to do to be successful and to improve.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what are some things you think make a great leader?
One thing, I think they develop a loyalty, not only with their peers, but with their, or I think they they focus on things that have to get done, and they go get them done. All right, I think they see the big picture, and then I think leaders are more worried about being effective than they are right. I think they go the extra mile. I think they're servants. They don't want to be served. They want to go serve. So I think that's very important because you can't ask somebody to do something if you're not willing to do it. And nobody's going to follow you if they think you're not going to go through with what you say.
Mm-hmm.
If you say you're going to do something, you need to do your best to go get it done.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. So you brought back obviously the devils on the side of the helmet and the win on the front. What kind of pushed you to do that?
Tradition.
I don't think you can.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been there for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the tradition, and I think that's what the players wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what the fans wanted. I think that's what the former
Yeah.
players wanted. There's been a lot of ball games won with that
Mm-hmm.
that red helmet with the devils on the side.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's all the questions I got.
Yeah. Well, we've about made it to the end. We got one last segment for you. We do this game at the end of every podcast. It's called the cheese quiz.
Oh gosh.
You have 30 seconds to name as many cheeses as you can. And we've had 3 guests so far. And our first guest, Mr. Grant Nichols, he had 8. Mr. Jimmy Pate, the mayor, he had 6, and Mr. Harrison also had 6. So you got to beat 8. We got to have somebody to take over the throne. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, go.
American, Swiss, cheddar. Does mild cheddar count?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Medium cheddar.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Mexican cheese,
Uh-huh.
grated cheese.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. Sharp.
Yeah.
Cheese.
And that's time. He tied it. Dang. We're having a bunch of ties. Yeah, we'll clap it up for Coach Maynard.
Yeah.
All right, that is the end of this Next Up Leaders podcast. Thank you, Coach Maynard, for coming.
Thank you. And
Thank y'all. Thank you.
And special thanks to Andre Kilgore for helping set it up.